Who is Genghis Khan? Well, I'm sure you've heard the name. He's one of the most famous conquerors in history, and he conquered more land in 25 years than the Romans did in 400, and it ended up, if you include the Mongol royal claims of Siberia, was the largest contiguous empire the world has ever seen. But it all started with one man named Temujin, later known as Genghis Khan. Now, Genghis Khan's life was largely predestined by what had been happening on the Mongolian steppe for some centuries prior to this point. Now, this point being around the year of 1162. That is the year that most scholars date his birth. Some scholars, like Jalaluddin in Persia, dated his birth to around 1168, but this is like a little jab almost at who Genghis Khan was, because 1168 also happens to be the year of the pig. Now, whatever the case, in and around the years of 1162, the Jin dynasty had sown a bunch of chaos in the Mongolian steppe, and what they would do is something that many Chinese dynasties had done before, and it was that they would play Mongols off each other and basically make sure that it was, disunified. The last Turkic or Mongolic, at least native steppe empire previous to this was the Turkic Khaganate in the 6th century AD. And pretty much from this point forward, there were obviously other large khanates, such as the Uyghurs, and before the Turks and before the Uyghurs, the Rouran or the Zhenjian. But there, at this point, wasn't a central unifying Mongolian power. Sure, there were some large khans that controlled significant tracts of territory, but there was no khan that was able to unite the Mongols in a front against the peripheral civilizations, that being China or in the West, like Persia or Rome. Now, Genghis Khan came along at a very interesting time. His mother and father were both a product of the Mongolian steppe, and who they were and how they raised him were a direct result of basically his environment and the way in which he was raised. Now, I'm definitely going to go into how Genghis Khan was raised, probably in another video, but in this series, I want to specifically focus on the militarial, philosophical, and general expansion of Mongolian thought and warfare across the peripheral civilizations. Now, Genghis Khan came to power in 1162 and became the Khan of the Mongols. Genghis Khan literally translates to the universal ruler, or ruler of the universe, not to be confused with the Babylonian name for ruler of the universe. But pretty much by the year of 1206, Genghis Khan was the leader of the newly founded Yehe Mongol Ulus, or the Great Mongol State.